On this episode, Brian and I talk about the Cowboys. It's close. It is so close. Luka and Slovenia, and a wee bit more. Play the music. Welcome to the Gold Line Fade, a Dallas sports podcast. I am Zach, your host, with my RB1, Brian, and we're here to talk all things going on in the Dallas Metroplex involving sports and just a little bit of nonsense around the way as well. So before we get started, Brian, you just got back from Vegas. How was your trip, my man?
It was terrific. I went there to go see the comedic stylings of one David Chappelle, and it was Dave Chappelle and Friends. So we got there right as Jeff Ross was going on stage.
Oh, nice. Oh, gosh, that's the Burn comic, right?
Yeah, the roast master guy.
Roast master,
yeah. And he wasn't really doing any roasting. I mean, he fucked around with one or two of the crowd people, but he was mostly just doing normal stand up, and it was pretty good. The MC was Donnell Rawlings, the dude from Chappelle Show and a bunch of other stuff, and he was absolutely hilarious. The Roots went on right before Chappelle, and then Chappelle came out and murdered it. One jackass in the audience decided he was going to stand up and yell and talk shit to Dave Chappelle, and ended up getting thrown out, and from the look of it, possibly arrested as well. But before he got thrown out,
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, before he got thrown out, Chappelle absolutely tore him a new asshole, which was very entertaining. But Vegas, fun and food and drinks and gambling and etc. So it was great, man. How about yourself? It's been
nice.
a little bit.
I've been good, man. Like not a lot. I know Tara and I just went to one of her good friends' birthday parties this last weekend, and they still party pretty hardy. So that was I'm still trying to recoup a little bit from that. We went pretty hard in the paint, but it was a fun time. They made like 100 wings, maybe 150 wings, and I think I ate like 50 of them. And I forgot to tell my wife the food was ready. She's not like a wing fan anyway, but she didn't even eat. Oh. So yeah, it was one of those situations. So I was there's not too often that I'm a bad husband, but that was one of them. I was stuffing my face with cookies and wings in the kitchen, but for like an hour. I just popped the Invisalign out, and I was like, yes. That's really it, man. Just kind of, we finished Sweet Tooth on Netflix. That show is good. I highly recommend it. It's so different.
I've had a few people tell me it's good. I've had mixed reviews from a few different people. So I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not. I haven't decided yet.
The soundtrack is cool. It's like a very folkish kind of like you'll if you hear the first episode, the kind of sound tune they gone for, you'll be like, okay, I want more. They not that they ended it like, I don't want to ruin anything, but I'm ready to see where the story goes. And it's a good show. I like the characters. I like the writing. So it was definitely for me. And it worked too, because it was a show that Tara and I enjoyed together. We don't watch a whole lot of programming together. For instance, the Resident Evil thing I'm really hyped about that just started, the animated show. I watched 2 episodes, 2 more to go. She, not interested whatsoever, stuff like that. So just like I'm not watching the Real Housewives of South Manhattan or whatever the hell it is, I don't know, but same thing. But besides that, my Madden beta ran out, beat Resident Evil 8. So I'm trying to find what's the next thing to play. I am amped like a schoolgirl on a Tuesday about Free Sticker Day, about a Skyward Sword for Zelda coming out on Friday. So I've been playing some Nintendo a lot. I've been playing Smash Bros for the last week. That, and I'm going between that and Halo 5, just back and forth, just nice. getting my ass kicked in both, but it's been fun.
Speaking of, back to Sweet Tooth, although not really, but speaking of the comic book superheroes, I saw Black Widow. Have you seen Black Widow yet?
No, I did not watch it.
It was solid, right? It was Marvel, generally speaking, doesn't shit the bed very often, and they didn't here either. The worst movies that they put out are still pretty solid.
Right.
And this wasn't one of their worst movies they put out. It was definitely a B plus. You know what I mean? Not too shabby. I recommend it if you're a fan of the Marvel movies. If
I
you're
am. I
not,
really want to see Spider-Man when that comes out. Like, I'm really excited about that. And the whole, I know that it's funny too, because it's going to be like which one comes out first, because the Flash is doing the Flashpoint paradox for DC, which is a reset of the universe. And it explains the multiverse and how there's 3,500 different Batmen, and there's this and there's that and everything else. And DC or Marvel's doing the exact same thing with Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse and everything. So it'll be intriguing because both movies will be coming out very similarly. And I expect both to do very well. But, Michael Keaton is coming back as Batman. So that's going to be freaking baller.
yeah, that'll be awesome.
Very, very, very. I might have to actually, I haven't bought a comic book in a minute, but DC is doing Batman 89, a limited edition series. And it's a continuation of the stories where Marlon Wayans will be Robin, Billy D. Williams is Two-Face, and it picks up where what Tim Burton would have done with 3 and 4 if he would have made his movies. And it's like a little short comic book thing that starts in at the end of this month, actually.
That's
so
cool.
I'm intrigued. In October, the hardcover graphic novel will come out, and I want to buy that. Just have all of it grouped into one.
I'm game.
I think I need to read it, man. I'm a big fan. Did you know Marlon Wayans was going to be Robin? Did you know that?
So I had heard that was discussed. I did not dive in. No, I didn't know it, but I had heard rumblings or talkings of that, read stuff about it.
But, yeah, it's kind of like Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
Like he got paid or still getting paid, something crazy, because they just fired him.
Huh.
Like he literally, like, it was supposed to be in Batman Returns, and then it didn't end up working out. That's why the toy in Batman Returns of Robin came out. I know I'm going super dark nerd here. And then Batman, so Billy D. Williams, who is Lando Calrissian, was Two-Face, not Tommy Lee Jones in the new one. Riddler was Robin Williams. And Michelle Pfeiffer was back in it as Catwoman. Michael Keaton was back, and Tim Burton was directing. And they canceled so much because they had so much parental and toy fallback on Batman Returns, because it was like borderline R, that they started, Warner Brothers does what they do best. They started getting in, and changing things. So Tim Burton quit, and then Billy D. Williams. And then Michael Keaton was actually the last one to walk away, which, believe it or not, he was actually, the movie we saw with Val Kilmer was actually 100%. Like, I think he quit like 2 months before before filming began. And then they put Val Kilmer up in there. So I'm intrigued, man. Like I said, I could definitely fanboy out about it quite a bit. I'm a big Batman guy. So I'm excited to see where they go for sure.
2 last quick notes on non-sports related stuff for me. Speaking of Val Kilmer, have you seen the trailer for the documentary?
Yes.
Amazing.
That looks awesome, right?
So good.
Yeah.
I'm a Val Kilmer fan though. Like,
and it's going to be in the theaters first, and then 2 weeks later it's going to be on Prime, right?
Correct.
And he's basically been filming his entire life.
Yeah, since like the early 80s.
And it's all just his videos and him talking to cast members from all the movies he's been on, and interviews from everything. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's like the Last Dance type thing, right? Michael Jordan, but in the movie industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all about that. That'll be cool.
Yeah, because he's had a really interesting career. One of my single favorite acting roles of all time, Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Like,
oh, I got 2 guns, one for the both of you.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And my last non-movie related thing, and this is very, I don't know, I didn't know if you'd seen this, but we stumbled across it this weekend. The Fear Street.
I haven't watched it. Hudson said it was garbage, and he's my go-to horror aficionado these days.
Okay, so here's the deal. It is absolutely garbage, but it's garbage worth watching, right?
Okay.
It's cheeseball. It's not scary. But did you read any of the R.L. Stein stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's my age. Yeah,
it's all based on his stuff. It's I don't even know. He may have written it. I don't know. But the first one is set in 1994, and so it's got kind of that nostalgia factor for people our age.
Right.
The second one's 78. And it's, again, not great. Didn't like redefine the genre or break any ground. It's just good old junk food for your brain horror stuff. It's worth watching.
No, I planned on. I know I'm gonna watch Space Jam this week. I don't know if I'm excited about Space Jam this week. I think I'll enjoy it for what it is. I think maybe, but I'm not a
I'm out.
LeBron. I don't know. So we'll see. But I know Tara's all about it, so I'll take a Zelda break.
Yeah, like, don't kill me, but I couldn't care less about Space Jam, including the original. I didn't care about the original. I just didn't. I just never did.
You don't believe you can fly, I guess.
No, I
Don't
really
believe you
don't.
can touch the sky. You never thought about it every night and day. Don't want to spread your wings and fly away.
Yeah.
All right. So to sports. Perfect segue there to sports now. All right. So not much really going on. Like I said, right now it's all noise stuff. We talked about this last episode with the Cowboys until camp fires up. Now we do get the quote unquote benefit of actually having, is it 4 or 5 preseason games this year? Because we have the Hall of Fame game.
It's 5. We have
5.
Well, no. I'm sorry. We have 4 when everyone.
Because they took one away because we have 18 weeks in the season yet. So that's happening. So I guess that's cool. And the Hall of Fame game, I'm going to be really excited until the game starts, and then I'm going to be bored with it probably immediately, right? But it is football, and that's about a month away actually from right now. And on top of that, the Dallas Cowboys, it was announced in our slumber last week when we were taking the week off for vacation, the Cowboys are going to be on Hard Knocks. And the last time the Cowboys were on Hard Knocks, they were 13-3. It was Wade Phillips' first year, actually. Tony Romo's first year as being starter. T.O. was doing T.O. things, and it was a cool season. And it was a great year. Like, that was the year that Marion Barber wasn't paid yet, and he was a freaking baller. And every time the Cowboys got the ball, I thought they were going to score. That was the year we played the Patriots week 5. We were both undefeated, right? Because we had that crazy Buffalo Bill Monday night game the week before.
But real quick, let me correct you, because that was not the year we were on Hard Knocks. We were on Hard. That was the year after the 13-3.
Oh,
we went 9-7. It was 2008 when we were on Hard Knocks.
Look at me. Look at me. I am so incorrect.
So
correct me. Well, it was still great, and it was still Wade Phillips.
It was Wade Phillips. Yep, absolutely correct. And
I remember Wade Phillips and Dave Campo being in a hot tub together at one point.
Absolutely.
That was
everything you're remembering is correct, except for the greatness that followed. That's the only.
Except for the record. Yeah. Okay.
They still.
It probably ended in a playoff loss anyway. Was that the That's My Quarterback year?
That was the That's My Quarterback year. Yes.
Yeah. So the year before.
That was last year.
Right. So the year before, we were 13-3, lost to the Giants, our first playoff game in the divisional round. Patrick Creighton dropped the pass.
Yep, Patrick Creighton.
And then that's the year the Giants won the Super Bowl. Then the year after was whenever we had a win and get in game versus the Eagles, and Tony Romo threw for like 112 yards and had like 4 picks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the meltdown game. And
so that's probably why I decided to forget that year, because that happened all too many times under the Tony Romo regime, play and get in, and did not get there. We got in a couple times too when we had to.
Easy now. I am a staunch Romo defender. So you be careful.
I like Romo. I like Romo as well. I also like Romo.
I love Romo. Love Romo.
Oh goodness me.
Love him. But
so we'll get off Tony Romo. Yeah. So the Cowboys. All right. We've got Hard Knocks going. So I am on record thinking the Cowboys are going to win 9 games. You were on record thinking, was it 12?
11.
11. So you're 2 games on me. So I'm going to put on money that by the time Hard Knocks is done, you're going to fill 9 wins like me. After seeing Mike McCarthy operate and motivational speeches and watching him mouth breathe, I think you're going to turn down the hype just a little bit.
I think I'm probably going to pick them to win 6 or 7 games after watching this, because man, if there was ever a coach that is not suited for Hard Knocks, it is Mike McCarthy. He is like the antithesis of the type of coach that does well on Hard Knocks. You know,
who was the coach of the Browns? What was his name? Not Levy Brown. A couple of years ago when the Browns were on Hard Knocks.
Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson.
And Mike McCarthy is him 2.0, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look, we don't have to get into the whether Mike McCarthy was the right hire or how long is he on the hot seat or any of that stuff yet. But I will definitely say that he is not built for the media apparatus that follows and hones in on the Cowboys. And, you know, he was used to Green Bay where it's like 7 reporters and nothing, right? Like nothing is a big deal in Green Bay because it's a tiny little town. It's nothing. And he didn't like the amount of attention and media requirements that he had last year. I can't imagine how pissed off he was about being selected for Hard Knocks.
And you know what? I listened to maybe 4 minutes of an interview because normally, oddly enough, I start my work day at 7 a.m. So oddly enough, a lot of times his interviews were like between the 6:30 and 7 hour on 105.3 The Fan. So I'd be like, oh, well, this works out. I can actually hear what he has to say because Jason Garrett was never during that time block, right? And I'm like, this is painful to listen to. He always sounds like he's like out of breath and like it's.
I listened to those very same interviews. I'm not positive about this, but I think so. Take a step back. Remember, and this is not excusing it, but I have a theory on why you hear the breathing. During that time period, he was living at the hotel that's connected to the Star, right?
So he'd walked all the way to his office.
I don't even think that. I think he was laying in bed on the hotel phone or his cell phone. You know, the whole hold the phone with the shoulder. I think he was laying in bed half awake the moment that he was doing that phone call. I think that's how because it was every Friday during the week. And I think that's how he woke up on Fridays. Personally, that's what I think it is, and that's why you could hear it. Not an excuse. It's a terrible.
No, it's even worse, actually.
Yeah, it's not good. And this is, I'll tell you right now, the guy who's going to be the star, and the people who he's only had 2 media situations so far since he came on, but the guy who people are going to be going, this guy needs to be our head coach is Dan Quinn. That guy is built for Hard Knocks and media interview because he answers questions, right?
Yeah.
He will actually answer them. He's not scared. He has all the right answers. I'm telling you, he's going to be a star. That dude is going to be, if he's not our head coach within the next 24 months, he's going to be somebody's head coach. I promise.
Right.
Again.
Well, you know, Hugh got fired on his season. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it was no. So we'll see. I know that's the thing I'm least excited about is watching Mike McCarthy operate. I have such low expectations. I'm most excited about, I think we both know they're going to have a heavy dose of Dak in rehab. So that's going to be very cool to see more Dak backstory for those who, I know a lot of us in Dallas know about his mom situation with her passing and how important, you know, like the message he has and all that. And I know a lot of people nationwide might not know those things. Yeah. So I'm excited for the world to kind of root for this man and see why, you know, we like him so much. So that's going to be really cool. Yeah. Watching the rookies it's always fun watching the rookies in the roster bubble. Danny Amendola is the famous Cowboy from last time that he ended up having a 10-year career, I think, after Hard Knocks almost, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he was playing last year. He was in the league last year.
Yeah, still with Detroit, right?
Yeah. I think so. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Still, like I said, still with Detroit. And like I said, this just helps. My theme of this Cowboy season, and then I'll let you go, is that they're going to be hyped. And I think this is going to help the hype. And I do think they're going to do very well. We've talked about this beginning of the year, then I think in the end of the year is when it's going to taper off. But I still think 9 wins is enough. I just don't know if they're going to have enough character and moxie built in what they do at the beginning of the year to be a very good January team. I don't know that yet. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to ask you because I was thinking about this. in your guesstimation, who pick 3? Let's say 3 players on the team, non-coaches and non-quarterbacks, who are going to, for lack of better words, benefit the most from Hard Knocks, as far as they're going to become stars or bigger stars, or you know, that kind of thing, from interviews and people being able to talk to them and get to know them. Who do you think is going to do who is going to shine the brightest?
Well, for fantasy football purposes, it's going to be Zeke, because they're going to show those skinny abs and how much more shape he's in and show all his quick stuff. And I'm sorry if anybody in the state of Texas thought he was gonna fall in any drafts. It's not gonna happen after Hard Knocks, probably.
No.
So I would say that. I think Michael Gallup. I think that he's like the one a lot of people don't know about, possibly, unless you're like in the fantasy world.
Sure.
And I think that that's a guy that could possibly really, excel. And then, man, Demarcus Lawrence is fun, dude. The Hot Boys and all that. I think he's going to be a character. So that would be my three.
See, my three, I've got CD Lamb, right? I've got DeMarcus Lawrence, who I think is one of the 2 or 3 most underrated defensive players in the league.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like him because the sacks aren't there, but the pressures and everything else. So I'm with you.
The advanced metrics show that he's one of the, I think, what is it? Pro Football Focus had him as the second highest graded defensive end last year for the year. And while I don't worship at the altar of Pro Football Focus, they, some of their metrics are legit.
Dude, there's validity to that stuff, even like for fantasy, because Nick Chubb the year before was like ranked number 4 on their list of like accuracy per touch. And I remember he was going in like the second and third round because people were afraid of the Kareem Hunt factor, and he still performed. So those things are accurate,
Absolutely. And then my last one is a rookie, and that's Micah Parsons. Just because he's super athletic, right? So you're going to be able to see him do some freak show stuff on the field on the clips that they're going to show. 2, he was highly drafted, right? And 3, he's got that personality that is going to really shine through. Like if you listen to, I know you did listen to any of his interviews right around draft night.
Oh yeah.
Talking about how he's the water boy, see ball, get ball, all that kind of, he's clever. He's quick witted. I think he's going to benefit greatly from that. I think he's going to be not a superstar, but a rock star based on just people liking him before he ever even sees a down of actual NFL football.
Awesome. Hey man, I'm pumped for it. I wish that it was more training camp and less preseason, it was starting like next week or the week after, because they don't really have enough footage to do that,
Yeah.
That would be really, really, really cool. But alas, that's not the way it works. So
yeah, indeed.
So this is the weird point. We don't even have Ranger baseball to watch them lose at this point. Tonight we have the All-Star Derby with Joey Gallo in it.
Well, they had the draft now.
The draft, yeah, we did get. Yes, they did. The draft happened last night. The Rangers did well. They didn't fuck it up.
Yeah, Jack
got the Vanderbilt pitcher, and he's supposed to be a can't miss, right?
Yeah, like the way it was described through this couple of different things I read is, as much as if this draft had an ace in it, it was Jack Leiter, right? Worst case scenario. More than likely, worst case scenario is he's going to, in a couple of years, be your number 2 through 4 starter, right? Best case scenario, he's a dominant ace. But, in the floor is a solid rotational pitcher. You know what I mean? Solid starting pitcher.
And Colby Allard has come on this year too again. And Gibson has done nothing but be phenomenal, with the exception of a couple starts. So he's absolutely probably going to get traded.
Yeah.
Gunning has done well. They're set up for a very youthful. With rookies though, with Leiter, 5 years from now, like it's different for,
with him. And this is according to Jared Sandler on the Fan 105.3 here in Dallas. He said, and I'll take his word for it because that guy like bleeds Ranger blue.
Yes.
And
yes,
red. He thinks that there's a chance that Leiter could be on the opening day roster next year, because that's how far along he is. You got to think his dad was a pro pitcher, right? So
that would be nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. Wow.
Yeah, no, that doesn't. He may not be a starter. He may be in your bullpen, or it may be something where he works his way up. But he's, again, according to Jared Sandler, he said he would be very surprised if he wasn't on your opening day roster. if not next year, the following year. So it's a pretty quick, that was one of the things about him that was so appealing, because he had a pro pitcher dad. While the COVID stuff was going on and everybody else was basically sitting at home or having to practice on their own, he had a major league pitcher who then became a pitching coach living with him. So he was able to keep training and keep getting better. So
okay. So we have the Texas Rangers in the All-Star game have 3 players. We have Kyle Gibson, we have Joey Gallo, and we have Odalis Garcia.
Yes.
How many of these guys will be here next season?
1.
I agree. It could be 2, man. It's gonna be tough for them. I don't think they want to part with Gallo. I think Gibson is gone because a playoff team is absolutely going to be calling about him. And it makes zero sense to keep Gibson if you're trying to develop Taylor Hearn or somebody like that. Maybe see if he can handle the starting duties. And there's a bunch of different angles they can go with that. Call somebody up.
Here's the thing. I think I wasn't even betting on them parting with Gallo. I think they're going to trade Adolis Garcia at some point.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I'm not necessarily for it, but I think looking at this team's timeline, looking at a 28-year-old rookie who kind of came out of nowhere, whose value it's very possible that his value will never be higher than it is right after the All-Star game, right? Especially if he has a good All-Star game. The world is watching.
Right.
His value skyrockets. Maybe you could get something for him, or maybe in the offseason they trade it. But I think Joey Gallo will be here next year only because he's made it abundantly clear that he really wants to be here very badly. And I think the way he's turned it on the last month and a half, I think that
10 home runs in 10 games, right? Stretch, like incredible.
Insane, man. Like, if there, and look, there is, I'm not saying this is the case, but there's an argument to be made that the rest of his year for the most part could be like this, because this uptick in play coincided almost directly with them starting to enforce the tacky rules. And so while I think it's partially timing, right? I think that happened, but also he got on a hot streak. But you could very easily say that no one in the league has benefited from them enforcing that rule more than Joey Gallo. And if that's the case, then maybe you can expect something close to what he's been giving us for the last month. And if that's the case, then he's an MVP caliber player, and you don't let that guy go.
Fair enough. I like Garcia. I'd like them to keep both. I as an offensive team, I don't hate what the Rangers have at all. And honestly, as a pitching team, it's really not. The big thing is the middle and the end, man. Is what it's crazy to think how bad they seemed, how good they came out of nowhere, how they kind of hung it all together with duct tape, kind of fell apart there. Like that May, gosh, was brutal. They won like 4 games. Yeah, but they've been back to 500 ball and back to being watchable again this stretch. So
yeah, it's one of those. It just seems like, aside from that stretch very early on in April, that there was, but ever since then, even when they're playing 500 ball, they just can't seem to really put it together.
Right.
If the offense gets going, then the bullpen or their starting pitching or all pitching involved just falls apart. If pitching and the offense kind of get together, then their defense just falls to shit. It's just, they can't click.
Or when they lose a series, it becomes 3 series in a row they lose. And then they'll win 2 series with a sweep, and then they'll lose 3 more. It's just never gaining ground. But speaking of baseball and disgusting, and I had the unfortunate situation of eating lunch today, and ESPN was on in the background. And I listened to Stephen A. Dumbass talk about how Shohei Ohtani can't be the face of the league because he needs an interpreter, which is one of the most racist things I think I've ever heard spoken on national TV, by the way.
Yep.
The dude he's batting leadoff and starting in the home and he's in the home run derby. Yeah. That's a pretty big face.
We haven't seen a player do this since Babe Ruth.
On top of that, The Angel games that have been on national TV or ESPN are the most watched games all season.
Yeah, look, I'm not the biggest. First, let me say this: I hate Stephen A. Smith with the passion that burns like 1,000 suns. And I'm not, but I was watching a clip earlier on YouTube, and they were talking about it, and it was on Pat McAfee, right? And I'm not the biggest Pat McAfee fan. I don't hate him, but I'm not the biggest fan. But he said something, and or one of the guys on the show said something that I thought they were spot on, which is he speaks the language that this country cares about when it comes to sports, which is sensational play, right? You're talking about a guy who's batting in the mid 300s, who's got what does he have? 33 home runs.
Yeah, he leads the league in home runs.
And on top of it, he's got an ERA in the threes, right? Shut up. Who cares what language he speaks? You know, Barry Bonds, take away the steroid and all the other stuff. Barry Bonds never said shit to the press ever at all, ever. So what language he did or didn't speak was completely irrelevant. It's not basketball. It's not where you expect every single star player to have a camera in their face.
It's such a ploy setup. Like I watched it happen because of my Twitter following and everything else. I watched Stephen A. It's a slow sports day. How can I create an argument where Max Kellerman can disagree with me completely? And then is it Passan, Jeff Passan, is that his name? Who's the main ESPN? All of a sudden he's going on First Take in the morning to say why he's wrong. He's like, I'll have thoughts on this tomorrow morning. Like, you've just created entire ratings bonanza to hear what these ESPN heads. But man, I just like, if you say something like that about a race.
Yeah. If he was white, he'd lose his job. And this is not one of those things where I'm going to say white people have it bad, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he is, in this instance,
it's disgusting.
He is very fortunate that he himself is a person of color, because that's the only reason he's going to be given the slack to get away with saying this, because it was.
I can't believe he said it. I 100%. That is like saying that like Allen Iverson, because he has dreads, is not an MVP. Like, if you were to say like that, what? You know what I mean? Like
Dak Prescott is not an MVP, is not capable of being the face of a franchise like the Cowboys because he's black. Right. That is the equivalent of what Stephen A. Smith just said.
Yeah.
It's fucking garbage.
Oh,
he's not going to lose his job over it. He probably won't even get suspended.
They probably told him to say it. They probably told him to say it.
Yeah, no. I mean, right now is the slowest time of the year. People are tuning into ESPN because of it. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me even a little bit, but I really wish he'd lose his job, because I can't stand that.
Not a good look, man. Not a good look.
No.
I feel so bad for the Asian community, dude. Like, like that pumps you up. Like when Jeremy Lin was a huge NBA and Yao Ming, like, God, they're such good fans of the sport, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man? You know, like, you just, come on, man. Be better. Be better. There's no reason for that.
The thing is, he probably could have said something similar in a much better and more constructive way. Like, here's a perfect example. Shohei Ohtani is amazing. But if he wants to take the step that I'm sure he'd like to take and become the entire face of Major League Baseball, he probably needs to spend some time in the offseason taking and dedicating time focusing on learning English.
So he can be commercialized.
Exactly.
He can be the cover of the show. He can have his shoe. He can have his jerseys. It's like Mike Trout, man. You talk about Mike Trout being the best player in baseball. What brand is he with? Couldn't tell you. And that's an MLB thing.
Yeah.
More than anything, like, what, they don't market it like the NBA does,
no,
right?
It's not a cheap culture.
There's a whole different spin they could have taken with this whole thing. Yeah. Because Shohei, absolutely, if MLB the show is not trying to get him on the cover of their game next year, they're doing it wrong.
Very wrong. And all the point that Stephen A. could have been trying to make, I'm not saying this was it, is a valid one, which is knowing English would make him being better at English would make him more marketable. That is a valid point. There's nothing wrong with thinking that or saying that. In fact, it's a fact. but that doesn't mean that he's not capable of being the face of MLB, and it certainly doesn't take away from his talent and what he's done.
The best player should be the face of the MLB.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He is the best player right now.
There's a reason why for the last 15, 20 years, it was in the NFL, it was Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And for the last 3 years, it's been Patrick Mahomes. For the last 20 years, it's been LeBron James and Kobe Bryant.
Right.
For the last 5 years, it's been Mike Trout. Before that, it was Albert Pujols. The best player in the league is the face of the league. Whether doesn't matter what color they are, what age they are, what race they are, what religion they are, what language they speak. They become the face of
the face of the MLB is an MLB problem. It's not a nationality or their language problem.
Correct. Absolutely.
Like, bar none. They don't market like they should. Period.
No. They're terrible at marketing. Terrible.
That they're trying to tinker with this. They don't know what they want. This is a podcast for another day, but MLB is jacked up under the hood. Like, it is not where it needs to be, and that's on them, man. That's not on Shohei at all.
No, not even a little bit.
No, I'm tuning in. I'm excited. I'm watching the All-Star game because, like, this dude's going to do some shit that hasn't been done in an All-Star game.
Yeah. I mean, we're watching our generation or our century's Babe Ruth. That's fucking insane.
Yes. Speaking of foreign sports, Luka and Slovenia.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. July 23rd is when the Tokyo Olympics start. I think I'm going to be TiVoing some Slovenian basketball if I can. I'm oddly enough not interested at all in watching America play.
Me neither.
Like, they just got their ass beat by Brazil, right?
No, it was an African team. Not
Nigeria, right?
Yeah, it was the Nigerian team. They were up by something like 35 points and still lost.
Goodness gracious.
By the way, the last Olympics 4 years ago, we beat them by like 40 points. And 8 years ago, we beat them by 82 points. So this team's got to get their shit together. But I'm
excited watching Luka. I think the game to get into the tournament, he had a 31-point triple-double. So, vintage Luka. So that'll be fun. So I'm going to try to TiVo some of the games if they're on. The Olympic schedule is normally pretty wonky. Sometimes it's like not the full game. It's like pieces of it, and it's not listed on the DVR the right way. So
yeah,
we'll see. I'm going to try to watch some of it so I can get some more Luka in my life. The finals, we got it. We thought I said Milwaukee in 5, which is impossible now. So
real quick, I'm sorry. Before we move to the finals, did you see? Speaking back to Luka, did you see his signature shoe that's coming out?
I did. Is that a 77 or an LD or both?
It's both.
Yeah,
it's
his
both.
new logo.
His new logo.
Very
it's
cool.
Dope. It's pretty dope.
Luka. Yeah, it's something. Lulu wanted to wave to the camera and chew on my thumb apparently in the process.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a very cool show for our listeners. Check it out. You can find it on Twitter. Just type in Luka Doncic shoe, or even search it on Facebook or Instagram also. And it's cool. It's like the logo literally is like an inverted 7 next to a 7, but it looks like an L and a D. Yeah. It's very cool. And I'm excited to watch him have his own signature badass logo and more shoes to come. Because, man, we find out in 2 days who's the cover of 2K. And if this Luka rumor was true, they're announcing it on the 14th.
Yeah.
So, man, you're talking about MVP candidate. You're talking about signing a max extension. You're talking about a new coach, new GM. There's already rumors about Kawhi Leonard wanting to come play here. I don't believe it for a second, but I fucking love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something that you wouldn't have heard, I'm not buying into the noise, but the fact that the rumblings are even there, which is awesome.
Well, I was listening to, I don't remember. I think it was maybe the Step Back podcast or another podcast that was Mavs centric. And they had a guest on, and I can't remember who it was, but is a guy who's not connected to Dallas. He is connected to a bunch of other teams, but he doesn't live here. He's not a Mavs beat reporter. And one of the things he was saying was that the moment they made the hires of J. Kidd and Nico, there was a lot of rumblings throughout the league that may be a place for me to go. Some serious superstars on other teams were taking note that, hey, that may not be a bad place to go play.
Yeah. Well, and the problem with the Mavs with Kawhi is not that I don't think they could get Kawhi and make it work. You're competing with Miami. And if he really is trying to opt out and not be somewhere, so if you don't know, Paul George was the second option of Kawhi Leonard. Option A was Jimmy Butler that he was trying to get to the Clippers with him. So there's some weird shit that can go down where the Kawhi Leonard trade's not working, but Kawhi convinces Jimmy Butler he needs out, and Jimmy Butler Paul George swaps happen, where we're looking at Paul George going to Miami for Jimmy Butler, right? Or B, they're trading the farm away and signing trades. They're sending Tyler Hero. They're sending whoever, right? And they're sending him there for him. So there's a lot of different scenarios. That's why I don't, you're just it's not a thing. Kawhi's a smart man, dude. The West is tough as well.
Yeah.
It would be maybe better suited for him to go there because Jimmy Butler and him are two of the best defenders in the league.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And I could be wrong. And I'm not trying to be a pessimist about it at all. I just don't see Pat Riley is a magician with the cap and making things work and making people buy in. So there's third teams to get involved with draft pick. There's a lot that can go down with that.
I'll say this. Yeah. And to just kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I think that the Miami Heat overall is the best run franchise in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Lakers have something only because of tradition. If you took tradition out of it, right? I think you can't. I think it'd be hard to argue with Miami being at least, if not the best, one of the best run franchises in all of the NBA because they just have this stability with a head coach and a GM. They have a whole culture that is built, that is known. Like when you come there, they mold you into this whole Heat culture they've got going on. And I don't think Jimmy Butler's going anywhere. And I think if Kawhi doesn't play in LA, I think he probably goes to Miami, but I'd still love to see it here. And I'm not going to kill the dream because that's my dream. That's my dude.
No. I don't want you to. Mine too. We talked about it, and I'm not trying to poo-poo on it at all.
Yeah. No, I don't think.
I watched two things. It's very evident that you absolutely, if you're looking at Milwaukee and you look at Phoenix in the finals, and you looked at the rounds before, you're not winning if you don't have two players that can absolutely create their own shots at any given time, right? And Dallas has one. Kawhi would make two. There's a lot of different angles by that. My DeRozan to Lakers looks like it's a very big thing as well, like I've been talking about for quite some time. Kemba Walker to the Lakers seems like it's a thing. It's about to get real heated in this freaking. It's here, man. This series is going to go. We'll see. If Milwaukee can tie it, we might be in for 7, but I think Phoenix is going to win and end them in 5. I think I was wrong with my 5-game prediction. I think it's Phoenix in 5 at this point. So
I still say Phoenix in 6. I still stand by that. I think we have seen the worst that we're going to see of Devin Booker. And I don't think he's going to light the world on fire in game 4, but I think he's going to be solid. And then they're going to get back home. And they're going to get back. I think, let me back up here. I think Milwaukee is still going to win game 4. And then I think Phoenix is going to win 2 in a row and shut this thing.
Hey, man, I'm feeling the 5. Milwaukee just doesn't look like, and they're a great team. And saying they don't look good is the wrong.
No, there's a legitimate flaw in having, and look, Giannis is one of my favorite players in the league, but there is a legitimate flaw as having him as your number 1, right? Because just like what we were just talking about, he can't create his own shot. He can't really do that. And in the last, let me back that up. He can create his own shot, but what he can't do is it's the jump shot. The jump shot is the problem. And when things get close at the end of the game, and it's going to come down to nailing some buckets, you can't count and making free throws. You can't count on him to do that.
Right. And we might eat our words. Maybe they'll turn it around and win all of them. But I think that's the problem with the reason why, like, if I'm picking an organization to run for the next 10 years and you're asking to choose between Milwaukee and Dallas, I'm choosing Dallas because I'm buying into a man who can create for himself versus one that can't. Milwaukee already felt the pressure of trying to keep Greek Freak, and rightfully so. And good for him for staying, right? But they pulled the trigger on some shit to try to make him stay. And I think Drew Holiday is a great player. But with the Drew Holiday situation, enters the and the Chris Middleton situation, enters the same Dallas conundrum. KP is probably a really good third guy. Tim Hardaway is probably a really good fourth guy.
Yeah.
The problem is when that's your 2 and 3, your ceiling is not where it needs to be. And don't get me wrong, man, Milwaukee's there. They're in the finals. So I don't want to talk too much smack about that. But damn it, if ifs and nuts, right? Ifs and buts is what they say. But they play a healthy Brooklyn next year. I don't think they're beating them.
Well, and let's also, as far as we're comparing them to Dallas, right? They're in the finals, but they came through the East. So let's just be, like you said, they didn't play a healthy Brooklyn. And I think if you even, if you play a healthy Brooklyn, I think, or even not even fully healthy, just put either Kyrie or Harden as healthy, give 2 out of the 3 at full strength. I think Brooklyn wins that series.
Yeah.
And also, I think the Mavericks were that close to beating the Clippers. And I think if they beat the Clippers, they at least make it to the Western Conference Finals.
And they lose to Phoenix badly, but they do. And like we said, it might be the best thing that ever happened because of that. They rebranded their front office, which is probably going to be better for the long run. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. El Mosley got the job in Orlando.
Good for him. I'm excited about that. And it's a good spot too, because the pressure's not going to be too high.
Yeah, right.
He's going to actually get a legitimate, unless
they made some good trades at the end of the year, man.
Yeah.
Getting Wendell Carter Jr., got Fultz coming back from injury. They got that RJ Hampton. Is that his name? Yeah. He's certainly coming with it. They're a team to watch, man. They're gonna be fun.
They're young, and like I said, unless he is just a fucking dumpster fire as a head coach, he's gonna get he's got to sign a 4-year deal. He's gonna get 3 or 4 years to really kind of hash that out and grow that team, and hopefully they can make another a couple more nice additions and really kind of grow those players.
One last thing, and then we'll end the podcast.
Okay.
I saw this thing today, and there's a blue check mark next to it. I don't know how much validity there is. I didn't go a lot into it. I was supposed to be working, and my phone was ringing, and I was scanning the Twitter, right? There's a report that the Wizards are very interested in pulling an Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, cool.
The report is the Wizards feel that there's not a lot of room to move. So what did Oklahoma City do? Oklahoma City got rid of everyone.
Yeah.
They got to the peak of the Western Conference Finals.
They made it to the finals.
KD decided to leave. Yeah, they made it to the finals, made it to the Western Conference Finals twice, like in a 4-year period.
Yeah.
KD decided to leave. Russell Westbrook, they were a fun team. They were decent, couldn't get over the hump. They tried to make a trade. They traded for Paul George, tried to get Carmelo, made that work. It didn't. They tried everything to stay relevant and stay really, really good. And then they're like, you know what? Let's just stack draft picks. Let's move on. Russ, where do you want to go? Is this where you want? We're going to do right by you. And they moved him, right? So they're just stacking picks, try to see what works, see what they can bring in and re-get that organization going again, right?
Sure.
The report is the Wizards are trying to do the same thing, which means that Westbrook and Beal are gone.
Look,
there's not a world they keep Beal. If you're trading for draft picks,
no,
he's not a world you keep Bradley Beal because he won't be happy.
No, well, A, he won't be happy. B, he's too old. He doesn't match the timeline.
Right.
So, but here's the okay. The fantasy is the Mavs find a way to make that happen.
Sure.
But the reality, the unfortunate reality, because let me also say that I think maybe not the best, but I think he's probably in the top 5 of players suited to play next to Luka.
Sure.
But the problem is there is going to be a line of suitors who can put together better packages.
Better draft packages is really
draft packages or young talent.
The players don't matter.
Very little.
Because like look at Oklahoma. I think that kid Gilchrist, right? They got from the Clippers. I think he's phenomenal, and they don't even give a shit. Like they don't care. They were tanking and putting him on the bench, and they'll move him in a heartbeat too, because it's all about building the draft and finding the right everything. I
think they realize that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, that's his name. I think they realize that he is a very good player who is not a franchise cornerstone.
He's like Schroeder, man. Schroeder is how you pronounce it, right? He's a very good 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And he could be, and I get that. I get what they're trying to do. I'm not mad at them for it, but
yeah. It's going to be they're going to be interested in draft capital, significant draft capital, or very, very, very young talent. And we don't have either, other than Luka, and we're not moving Luka. So
I have a strong feeling Bradley Beal will be with the Miami Heat or the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
And maybe Kawhi is playing for the other one.
Yeah, if what you just said happens, I am ecstatic.
And it'll be a repeat.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. It probably would be. Because, that would be absolutely amazing. It would be spectacular. Because either one of those two guys, you put them next to Luka, and if we're not the favorite, we're close. We're definitely not in the bottom half of the playoff bracket next year. We're definitely not worried about the play-in tournament. We're in the top 3 seeds.
And we'll see. It's like I said, and these are the best case scenarios. We don't know what it's about to really, really get crazy with the rumors as soon as the season's over. As soon as the Phoenix Suns hoist up that trophy, about 24 hours later, shit's getting real. Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities and things. The draft is real close. Are they going to get in the draft? Are they not? It's fun, man. We're camp going on for the Cowboys. We're going to have Rangers trading people away and bringing in future pieces, and the Mavs putting a roster together for next year. This is going to be a fun little run coming up here in a week or two, man. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Do you got anything else you want to say in closing, my man?
I do not at all. I think we've covered it all. So,
all right. As always, to our listeners, we love you. Thank you for listening. If you could like, subscribe, share, whatever, we would greatly appreciate it. If not, then hey, man, that's cool too, I guess. Not as cool, obviously. But this is Zach, and we're signing off. Peace.